Lesson 4, Manuscript lowercase LTHBFK. Now, before this, we have been practicing letters that started at or around the midline and came down. Well, this week's letters will be starting at or around the top line and coming down. Let's review our guidelines. Top line, midline, baseline, descending space. None of our letters this week will be going down into the descending space. Let's begin with lowercase l. Begin at the top line. You're coming straight down to the baseline and a little tiny kick. That just makes it look pretty, and then again we're getting ready for a cursive. So again, top, straight down, little kick, little tiny kick, not a big loop, not like a T, okay? So it's just a little tiny kick. Again, top line, down, touch the baseline, just a little kick. Top line, straight down, touch the baseline with a little kick. Your turn. Okay, so now I'm assuming that you have practiced on one, possibly two lines. So I'm going to go from this dotted line to the next writing line. So I go from one dotted line, find the next dotted line, make sure I have a top line, midline, baseline, descending space. This is going to be my next line. Let me begin down here. This will be lowercase t, manuscript, of course. Top line, down to the baseline. As soon as you get to the baseline, you're going to make a hook to the right. And then a bow tie at the midline. Top line, down to the baseline, a hook and a bow tie. Top line, down to the baseline, a hook and a bow tie. That was my eyes dropping. I wonder if y'all heard it. Okay, top line, down to the baseline, a hook and a bow tie. Now your hook does not need to be catching a shark. It's just catching a little fish, so it just needs to be a little tiny hook, not too tiny, not like a kick, but a nice little fish hook, okay? So, top line, make sure you have a bow tie at the midline. You may think that with your pencil, teachers cannot see it on the midline, but we can. So don't worry about that. And then go on down and have your hook. Make sure it's touching the baseline. All your letters look about similar. It's your turn. Okay, skipping down to my next clean guideline. I'm going to begin with lowercase h, top line, midline, baseline. Okay, top line, straight down, just as we've been doing with the L and the T, down to the baseline. You go back up, retrace that same line. Once you get to the midline, you're going to hump over, just like the N and the M, with a little kick. So if we were to take this away, it would look like an N, but we are reaching up high. So be sure you begin from the top line, down to the baseline, retrace and go back up the same line, hump over right at the midline, don't go past it, and a little kick. Very nice. Top line, down to the baseline, go back to the midline, hump over as soon as you get there, little kick. Here we go. Top line down, hump over, little kick. Top, down, hump over, little kick. Your turn. Okay, our next letter will be lowercase b. Now, this is where you begin at the top line. You go down, straight down to the baseline. You retrace, go back up. Once you hit the midline, instead of humping over, you're actually going to round it up, touch the baseline, and close it. So, top, down, back up, over and around, and close. Be sure you're touching the midline. Be sure you're touching the baseline with your belly in the front, okay? Top, down, back up, over and around, and close. Top, down, back up, over and around, and close. Oops, close. Your turn. Okay, before we go to our next letter, I'd like to backtrack a little bit with the B. What I've seen very often are students going from the top line, coming down, and then thinking that they're making an accurate B like that. This is actually a number 6. So this is incorrect. You also do not decide for a B and a D that you place the stick and then decide where the bump goes. It either goes on that side or you place a stick and the bump goes on that side. No, they have to be written completely differently so you can get them straight when you're practicing spelling. So a B is top, down, back, over, and around. A D begins at the midline, over and around, straight up, back down, with a little kick. Okay? All right. Let's place our B up here. Top, down, back up, over and around. And this one does not have a little kick. Next letter will be lowercase f. Now here's where we will begin at or around the top line. Actually, it's kind of like a T, but that has a hook down below, but now we're gonna have a hook at the top. So we begin, actually, I'm gonna put a dot there. That's where we actually begin, below the top line. So you begin below the top line, you come up, touch the top line, then you make a hook straight down, and then you go make a bow tie. So many students will say, oh, it looks just like a T, but actually this would have to be lifted up and placed on top of it to look like it. You can't just flip it around. So it is very similar, but we begin again down here, below the top line, hook up, over, and around, straight down, and then a bow tie. Oops, I made my bow tie a little bit too big. That looks better. Again, hook up, straight down, bow tie. Hook up, straight down, bow tie. These are actually kind of fun when you get in the habit of making it this way. Hook up, straight down, bow tie. Very often, students will try to combine a lowercase r and an f, and they will try to make a stick first and then go back up and hump over. This is incorrect, and then they'll go and put the bow tie. This is absolutely incorrect. There is no stick for a lowercase f. You just hook down, and it's actually 2 strokes. So 1 stroke down, and then the bow tie. Your turn. Okay, our next letter will be, this is the last one for this week. This is lowercase k. Now, let me explain to you, many times students will write the K where they have a stick K. Perfectly fine, perfectly fine. But for right now, we are trying to get ready for cursive. And the cursive K looks just like this, except for 1 extra stroke. So please try to break away from the stick K, okay, to this fancy K. Here we go. It is top line down to the baseline. Sorry, top line down to the baseline. You go back up. As soon as you hit the midline, you're going to make a little tiny loop, and then you're going to come kick it down. So the loop is actually between the midline and the baseline. Do you see how that's in between there? So it is not a very big loop. It's just half the size of the midline and the baseline. And then the rest of it, you come kicking down. So please don't make your loop in the front way too big, because you still need room for your kick down. Many times students will mistake this for like a capital R. Well, this one has a tall stick in the back. So it is twice as big as the part that looks like a capital R. But of course a capital R would be from the top line down, okay? Not the midline down. So that's the difference there. Okay, so let's please try to retrain our brains to be working with this kind of a K. Your teachers will understand if you're not making it absolutely perfectly, but you will get better at it. And then once we get into the cursive K, it's going to be just one extra stroke. That's it. So we will be halfway done with learning our cursive K if we practice this way. Again, top line, straight down, retrace, go back up to the midline. I'm going to make a little loop halfway through and then kick it down. Now your kick down needs to be kind of at an angle and then coming out. Top, down, back up, little loop, kick it down. Top, down, back up, little loop, kick it down. Top, down, back up, little loop, kick it down. Your turn. Okay, children, so we have learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters that actually begin at the top line, at or around the top line, and they come down. So these letters are actually twice as tall as all the other lowercase letters. Again, there are some that actually are midline and they come down below into the descending space, but that's only 5 of those. So we have 6 of these, we have 5 that come down below, and all the rest of them are going to be midline down. So understand that these need to be twice as tall as all of the other lowercase manuscript letters. Okay, let's go ahead and begin with our word. Now, I know you all are anxious to be writing sentences, but please just practice the words for now of the letters that we have learned so far. Once we start learning our capital letters, then we will start writing sentences with those. Okay, so just hold off a little bit and let's start writing. Let's continue to write just words. The first word is going to be boy. Boy. That's B-O-Y. So we begin at the top line, come straight down to the baseline, over and around and close. There's our B. Now our O, we have to skip over a little space because remember we're coming into the left side this way. So we go over and around and close. It is very rounded. Then we have Y, which is midline. So because I don't have anything round to it, I'm going to go ahead and begin right next to the O. So I'm creating a word. U-turn, straight up, straight back down below into the descending space, and have my hook. Next word, boy. soon you'll be able to just like sound out because you'll be so good at writing your letters. Your turn. Okay, the next word will be a little bit longer. This is going to be hugging, hugging. So we need to have our H. Remember, ghost letter O if you want to have your space in between. Next letter will be tall. So it's top line, straight down, retrace, back up, hump over, little kick. Right next to it, I don't need any space over to scoop over because it's straight down, U-turn, straight back down. Then I have my G. My G begins right here at the midline, over and around, straight up, straight back down, with a hook down below like the Y. Now because it's a vowel and a consonant, I have to double my consonant before I add my ing, I-N-G. So again, now that I have a round part in front of me, I have to kind of skip over. So I'm going to skip over it just so I'm close enough. Not touching it, but close enough and not too far away. So I have hug. Here's my I, straight down with a kick and a dot. Again, right next to it, my N. No need for a round space, so I'm going to be right next to it, straight down, hump over with a kick. And now I need a round space because I have my G that has the belly in front. So I have to go over and around with a G down below, hugging. I know I don't have enough space over here, so I'm going to go down to the next line. I find my next dotted line. Here we go. So we have top, down, back up, hump over, little kick. U-turn, straight down with a little kick. Skip over, over and around, straight down with a left hook. Skip over, over and around, straight down with a left hook. I, N, straight down, hump over, little kick. Scoop over for my G's belly, and then hook down below. Your turn. Next word we will practice will be doll. D-O-L-L. Goes to O, scoop over for good spacing. Begin at the midline, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a little kick. We've learned this already, and as well as the O. So we scoop over, we have to have the belly. So over and around, close, top line, straight down, a little tiny kick, top, down, little tiny kick. Ghost O, here we go. Over, around, straight up, straight down with a little kick. Over, around, close, straight down, little kick, straight down, little kick. Your turn. So our next word will be talk. Sort of like tick-tock, but this is talk. Top line, down to the baseline. Have your right hook, bow tie, O, I have to move over, over and around and close. C, over, around, and stop. K, top, down, back up to the midline, loop in the middle, kick it down. Talk. Here we go. Ghost letter. Oops. Ghost letter. Top, down, hook, bow tie, over and around, close, up, over, around, stop, top, down, up to under the midline. Don't go past the midline. Make your loop under and kick it down. Talk, your turn. Next word to practice will be farm. Farm, F-A-R-M. So ghost letter, space over. I'm going to begin below the top line. Hook up, straight down, bow tie, A, over and around, straight up, straight down with a kick. R, stick down, hump over. M, stick down, hump over once, hump over twice, little kick, farm. Again, hook over, bow tie, over, around, straight up, close, with a kick, stick down, hump over, stop, stick down, hump over once, hump over twice, with a little kick. Your turn. Our last word to practice will be pick. P-ick. Now, k is spelled with a CK after a short vowel. So, let's begin with our P. Midline, straight down, in descending space, straight back up, retrace, over and around, touch the midline, touch the baseline, close it up. I, midline down, little kick, don't forget your dot. C, begin below the midline, up, over, around, stop. K, top, down, top, down, up, over, around, loop around, and close. P, here's my ghost letter. Again, P, down below, up, over, around, close. I, C, up, over, around, stop. K, top, down, loop around under the midline, kick it down. There you have pick. Once you have completed all of your words, please be sure and look over them. Make sure that they all look sort of the same size, you know. Make sure your top line letters are reaching all the way to the top line. Everything is touching the midline. You've got your baseline, and then the letters that hang down below are hanging down below. You have dotted your I's wherever need be, and then you've crossed your T's and crossed your F. I must say I'm very, very impressed with your progress as of yet. I'm so excited to see where we go from here. We have one more week of manuscript lowercase letters, and then after that, we will go ahead and begin our capital letters, which are super easy. So we will just kind of get through those very quickly. And before you know it, in January, we'll begin our cursive writing until the end of the year. So I'm super excited. I look forward to seeing you next week on Thursday and seeing all the writing you've done. See you then.